and subscribe. Can we get into a classic episode rant though? Please? Now this one was requested to the point where this video and the next video I'm going to do, they became anticipated. And I'm going to be honest with you. I almost made this a Rumble exclusive because I want to curse so bad. But I'm not though. I'm not. Okay? You guys see the thumbnail. The Cosby Show. Season 6. Episode 21. And I'm going to tell you. In my opinion, this is a problem with black families. This right here, this episode. I watched this episode. I was in my feelings. We all had feelings, right? We all had feelings. We're all human. I was in mine. I was in my feelings. Look, we're not going to be sexist. We're not going to do none of that, okay? Some of you guys might be parents. So, and hopefully you are, because you watched this as a kid and then you watched it as a parent too. And then we can really have a conversation, right? But, and this is before we even get into the damn show. The favoritism that the parents show to the daughter over their son, it has to stop. It has to stop. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. In this episode, we're going to break down Denise, right? We're going to compare Denise's situation, right, to Theo's situation. And then we're going to see what happens at the end, right? 'Cause y'all requested this. Y'all already know what happened. But y'all got me to talk about it. This is what y'all wanted, though. Oh my God. This episode starts off, we in the Apollo era. You know you gonna get a good episode when you get into the Apollo era of the show. You know, like, they don't miss when they in this era. And because it's about Theo, we gonna show the late great, you know. But we gonna stay in character though, because we know Theo before, he passed and whatnot. Rest in peace, Theo, but we know him. He was heartbroken off this. Because we've had conversations about this. And it made him a better man. But let me stop being rude. Let's just start off with let's get back to the actual. I'm going off already. I'm oh my God. Let's get back to it, right? The episode starts off. We see Olivia. She's finishing up a milkshake. She's with her stepmom, Denise Huxtable. And don't worry, we are going to get on all of them. Don't even worry. They'll have an episode. Trust me. I gotta start off with that with the husband, the Navy guy. We gotta start off with him first, right? But you see Denise, and you see another woman, right? And you're like, oh, okay. This must be Denise's friend. And you're right. They are friends. Yeah. They are friends, right? I mean, because, friends share, common traits, common qualities. They like the same things, right? You know where I'm getting at, right? And these two, they have a common bond. They have a common bond, too. Yeah, their common bond is Martin. So they share last names because Olivia asked for another milkshake. And of course, Denise said no. And then Olivia looked at the other lady and said, Mommy? And yeah, we find out that that's Olivia's mother. And of course, Olivia's mom, she's like, those sorry eyes not going to do it with me. I'm with Denise on this. And then the waitress just so happened to walks up and she's like, can I get you guys anything else? And Denise step up with those big shoulder pads and inserting her dominance, right? She's like, well, yeah, you can get her. Of course, she's pointing at Olivia. You can get her a nice glass of water. Thank you. And Olivia's wild. She asks, well, can I have cherries and grapes in my water, please? And the waitress asks, is that okay, Mom? Looking at Denise. And Denise quickly says, oh, I'm her stepmom. Paula is her mother. We find out her name is Paula. And the waitress say, wait, hold on, wait. What year am I in? Are you guys lesbians raising this little girl? You guys are ahead of your time. And Paula says, you know what? It's so funny you said that. Because my ex-husband, Martin, see, he gets on this Navy ship and he's with all those men. And I mean, one night he scarfed down one too many whiskeys and Pepsis, if you know what I mean, right? And he called me and asked about a three-way with me and Denise. But of course I turned that down, right? Because that will cause me to be on more episodes of this show. And I got to go back to my farm. Yep, my farm. And the waitress says, well, that's amazing you guys even get along. And Paula says, of course, we like each other. And then she proceeds to ask another woman, should we let her daughter have the drink now? And Denise says, well, yes, signaling to the waitress, you're making us uncomfortable. And now we might dock your tip, of course, And then what do you know? Theo walks in, right? He's like, what are you guys doing here? And Olivia was like, oh, we just saw a movie together. Oliver Twist. And Theo says, oh, that's the movie with the orphanage, right? That's similar to a shelter, and your stepmom messed up so many times. It's amazing you guys don't live in one. And this leads to Paula showing off, right? She's talking about her private school experience. She's like, oh, they fed us so well in private school. But mind you, this is 1990. She's telling these people, yeah, this school fed us a dish called Rasta pasta. I don't even think it's been invented yet. But nonetheless, they'll whack you with a ruler. And Theo's like, well, this lady's probably lying, but he's a gentleman, right? He's like, well, look, if they whacked people in my high school, I would have needed a helmet. And Paula says, you know what? I wonder if any of those kids that got whacked at my school had learning disorders. Then follows up with the dumbest line in the show. She says, I think that's why I'm taking education classes. She don't even know why she's doing this. She just came up with a theory about something that occurred in her elementary school. Well, when she was in private school, let's just say, right? And she can't even interview these people. Mind you, this is way before Facebook. She hasn't saw these people in years. But nonetheless, she's in school for this, right? And Theo's intrigued. He's like, well, I wish I had someone that cared about my dyslexia. When I had issues in school, I would have been a super student. And Olivia asks her mom to escort her to the bathroom. And thank God we don't see this lady no more in this episode. Thank God. They went right back to the farm, right? And Theo sits down, right, with Denise. And Denise is saying, well, I'm so happy that you're comfortable talking about your dyslexia, Theo. And Theo's like, well, I had it rough coming up. Denise is like, yeah, you definitely had it rough in the home, Theo's like, yeah, duh. I had people calling me lazy and stupid. And Denise says, yeah, mom and dad can be a little rough. They should have never called you that. Theo says, what? No, you called me that. And it's so funny because I lapped you. See, you're underachiever, Denise. And Denise just takes it. And then we go on to the next scene, right? And this is a crucial scene in this episode, right? We see Cliff teaching Rudy how to wash clothes. And of course, he's like, you have to separate them, and now let me teach you how to measure this soap powder. Because, you just pour it all in. And he was like, oh, hold on, Rudy. I see Theo left some clothes in the machine. And of course, he's emptying out everything and whatnot. Then he noticed some women's clothes. He's like, Rudy, these ain't yours, are they? She's like, Dad, really? I'm not that mature. I don't even know how to properly wash clothes. So now Cliff is on alert. And he got to run this by the sheriff in the house. And in the next scene, you see that sheriff. Claire Huxtable. And Denise walks in. And Claire is doing her crossword puzzles, minding her business and whatnot. And Denise, and of course she's like, oh, hold on, Denise, where's Olivia? Because you know that is your responsibility and whatnot. And Denise was like, oh, no, she's with her mom this weekend on her farm and whatnot. But something amazing happened to me today. Because you know the world still revolves around Denise and whatnot. Something amazing happened to me today. I was sitting in a cafe with Paula, and she was telling us her experiences with working with children. Then Theo joined us. He was talking about his dyslexia, and then it hit me, Ma. It hit me. I finally found my passion. I want to be a teacher. I want to work with kids with learning disabilities. And Claire says, oh, that's very nice, Denise. You know, and keeps on working on her crossword puzzles, of course. Because everybody knows this girl is the biggest mess up in the family. Everybody knows this. You know, we're in season, 6 now. So everybody knows this, right? And Claire lets her know, you know, to accomplish that goal that you just set out of nowhere, you know, it takes years of school and hard work. And we already know that's definitely not you, Denise. And Denise says, no, you don't understand. This feels so right to me. My spirit is telling me to work with kids. And you got to watch a broke woman's spirit. Because whenever a broke woman's spirit tells them something, they probably won't go through with it. And they could be using that keyword spirit to make themselves appear like they're a deep thinker. Like Denise, right? Because we already know Denise is keen to messing up an opportunity. And she's not as deep as she looks or wants you to believe, right? And in walks Cliff. And Denise so happy to see him. She's like, Dad, I want to be a teacher. He's like, well, good. Brushing her off. And he's like, Claire, you want me to take those turkey wings out for tonight? Because, you know, Cliff is the cook of the house and whatnot. And Denise says, I can't believe this. I just made a very important announcement. And nobody in this house takes me serious. And Cliff says, well, Rudy is in the basement. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I doubt even Rudy cares or takes her serious. You know, like we got to be honest. It's season 6. Everybody that's watching this show at home, and even people like me, Rants, that know the family personally. I know Denise personally. We know she's a mess up. You guys know what I want to say. She's a mess up, though. She's a mess up. We don't believe in her. As a matter of fact, Denise owes me $20 from back in the day. But let me stay on topic. And Denise talking to her parents, she's like, I'm serious. I'm ready to commit. And Cliff is like, to what? A home? Because Lord knows you not on nothing. You living with us, you know? She's like, let me call Martin, you know, my husband, right? And now Cliff is like, guess what I found in Theo's laundry, Claire? And Claire's like, huh? Those aren't male clothes. But I bet I know whose clothes they are. And Cliff is like, well, maybe she's staying over Theo's spot. You know, if it's Justine, like we think, right? And Claire's on it. She's like, well, let me call him. And she calls Theo's apartment, and she's like, hello, is Theo there? This is his mom. Who are you? Anthony? You live there? Well, how many people live there? And Anthony is clearly clutter-minded. He's getting pressed out, right? He's like, 3, no, 4. And Claire's a lawyer. She's like, look, make up your mind. Is it 3 or 4 people, sweetie? Okay, well, listen. When you do hear from Theo, tell him his parents need to talk to him ASAP. Matter of fact, tell him to come pay us a visit. Then she hangs up, and Cliff is like, interesting. And now Claire's like, no, let me call Justine. Mind you, this is before call ID, you guys. Way before call ID. She calls Justine's apartment. Theo answers. Claire's like, oh, yes. And says hello, like, hey. Hello? Oh, no, this fool hung up on me. She can't believe this. She's like, let me call back. And she's telling Cliff, like, oh, now I'm getting that New Jack Swing crap and a voicemail. Now Claire's leaving a voicemail. She's like, hey, Miss Justine, this is Theo's mother. Please tell him we're looking for him. And Theo, I know you hear me. See, because this was back in the day. And those voicemails, you could hear them live. So she was like, yeah, come see about us. And the next scene is very crucial. We see Theo walk in, and he's like, hey, mom, hey, dad. Danny said you called the apartment. And Claire already hip. She's like, yeah, you left a load of clothes in the washing machine. And Theo's like, yeah, well, I had to run the class, so I didn't really have time to finish it. And Cliff's like, yeah, well, we finished them for you, buddy. And Claire said, well, you didn't mix up any clothes or anything, did you? Theo said, no. Cliff asked, well, are you doing other people's laundry? Theo said, no. Man, Cliff got right up and was like, well, you see these clothes right here, buddy. They're clearly not yours, are they? Because we didn't raise you to be, so flamboyant. And Theo he was like, look, they're Justine's, He said it with confidence, too. Claire asked Theo, where are you residing? And he comes back like, what you mean, like where I'm receiving my mail? Because he already know his mother's a lawyer. He knows how she thinks and whatnot. And she fires back with, no, Theo, where do you live? Like, really? And Theo comes clean. He was like, look, Justine's roommate dropped out of school. So she was going to be stuck with the whole rent for the rest of the semester. And since I'm a gentleman, like you guys raised me, I agreed to help her out. And Cliff starts laughing. He's like, oh, so you moved in, huh? And Theo like, yeah. So Claire like, when did you move in, Theo? Theo was like, 3 weeks ago. So Claire's like, well, what about your apartment? The one that you was actually living in. Theo was like, well, I found Danny and Glenn a replacement, Anthony. He's very compatible to their living style and study habits. So now everybody wins in this situation. And Claire's like, that's funny? Because we don't feel like we won a damn championship, Theo. And Cliff is like, yeah, like each month I give you a check to pay your rent. What are you doing? You're using that to pay rent at Justine's or something? Theo's like, not at all. Actually Justine's rent is lower. So I got a bank account and I put the rest in that. And Cliff looks at him like, oh, so I'm being swindled. Okay. All right. And Claire's like, well, what about your bed and your fridge that we just bought you? Theo's like, I'm renting those to Anthony too. And Cliff's like, oh, okay, so you're just taking all that money and throwing it in the account, huh? I'm assuming, you the man, huh? And Theo's like, yeah, you hip. Yeah, you already know. Claire was like, look, Theo, we sent you to college to get an education, not to move in with your girlfriend. And the money that we gave you is for your apartment that you're supposed to be living in with Danny and Glenn. That's what we expect you to study, eat, and live, buddy. Theo's like, look, you act like I'm living with a stranger. Cliff like, nah, you don't understand the issue. See, we sent you to college so you can get an education. Not to play grown man and shack up with Justine. And you being dishonest with the money. You didn't even tell us about your plans to move in with Justine. What are you doing? Theo like, look, what if Justine's parents is cool with it though? Claire like, oh, we don't care about that. See, you are a child. Your last name is Huxtable. You're destined for greatness. Do they even know y'all are living together? Since you brought them up, right? And Theo's like, not yet. We was actually going to tell both of y'all at the same time. And Cliff is like, well, how was you going to do that? You was going to leave your little stinky drawers in her laundry? And Claire's like, actually, I know Justine's parents, and they're not going to be thrilled by this news, Theo. And you know what? If you continue this, we're just going to cut off your living expenses. And then Theo breaks down. You see the breakdown? And I'm not trying to be nonchalant about it. Yeah. Theo breaks down like some bomb bud. And he is like, look, Ma, seriously, Ma and Dad, it's so many kids at school that live with their girlfriends. Like, seriously. Claire's like, oh, we don't care about these other people that you keep bringing up, Theo. I can't believe you use them as an example. Like, these people, we don't know them. They may not amount to anything. Like I said, you're a Huxtable, Theo. We have certain expectations for you. Theo's like, exactly. I'm a Huxtable kid. I've been one for the last 19 years, Ma. I've done everything right. I never gave you any real trouble. I don't use drugs. I don't stay out late partying. And let me tell you one thing, Ma. I got one of the baddest chicks in sitcom history. She's mean. Mean. Like a strict third grade teacher. And I opened a bank account to show you guys I'm at the point where I'm not just spending my money. Plus, I'm working hard in school. Living with Justine is making me a better person. I'm even more organized now, Ma. And then he was like, you know what? He taking his stuff. He like, I'm fed up with this. His ego getting to him. He like, man, just because y'all give me money don't mean you can control my life. If y'all can't back me up with this one, then me and Justine, we just gonna have to figure it out and live our lives for ourselves. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, this perfect life y'all got for me, get it out your mind, Ma. Because you're not going to ruin this little bit of butt I've been getting for the last couple seasons. I'm Theo Huxtable. It ain't like I'm the ladies' man, but I got a bad, mean John. I got a mean John. Like they say in Philly, I got a mean John. And then he walked out. And Cliff ends the scene with his arms folded. He like, I guess he told you. And look at his mean sweater. Got a nasty sweater. That track and field sweater is crazy. Cliff Huxtable. And in the next scene, you see Theo. He's throwing back water. Because he's a Huxtable, right? He don't even drink soda, let alone alcohol. He calls the waitress over, asks for another refill. She tells him, look, I've been bringing you water for the last half hour, Theo. I can't keep doing it. And he's like, please. She's like, look, I'm trying to make money. You trying to save money. You on water number 5. We was waiting for you to use the bathroom so we can get your table to somebody else. I ain't even going to lie to you, Theo. But Theo convinced her to give him, another water that he has to pay for now. He got to pay for him now. And then Justine walks in. Bad. Mean. And Theo's like, well, how did it go with your parents, sweetie? And Justine tells him, not too well, Theo. I'm going to be honest. Pop's looking for you. Yeah, my father looking for you. And reality hit Theo. He's like, huh? Me and your pops was always cool. Remember that time he took me to see the Knicks play? I thought we was all right. Justine was like, well, he's never doing that again. And they said if I continue to live with you, they gonna only pay for my tuition and cut me off financially. And Theo, a big boy, he like, well, I guess we're gonna have to figure this out then. Justine, do you love me? She responds back, you know I do. Theo like, look, well, it's situations like this that make a couple find out who they are. Now, if I get a job and you get a job, we won't have to live by our parents' rules. We can be together. And Justine's like, well, yeah, and if it get too expensive, we can move upstate and transfer up there. Everything's cheaper up there. Theo was like, yeah, we can live a new life. And Justine says her final lines ever on The Cosby Show. Ever on The Cosby Show. She says, well, I never defined my parents like this. And the waitress brings out 2 waters. Mind you, she waited on 2 Huxtables and didn't get a tip, right? And we never, ever, ever, ever see Justine on the show again. Now, she's referenced. Theo was still messing with her, but we never see her again. Okay? And in the next scene, we see Cliff. He's watching an infomercial, about a machine that can make a rotisserie chicken. They selling it for $19.95. He was about to order it. Because, he's the cook of the house. Claire don't cook. But Claire stopped stuff. Because Claire stopped the order. She was like, Cliff, you have one in the basement that you don't use. And then Denise comes in. Ruining the vibes. Like she always do. She's like, hey. And they was about to make their way to the kitchen. Because at this point, they only tolerate her so Olivia won't be homeless. Let's just be realistic. We're just going to call a spade, right? And she tells them, no, this is a book that Paula recommended to me. I just got it from the NYU bookstore. It's about learning disorders. And she claimed that she read 3 chapters on the subway coming home. And I'm telling you guys right now, that is a goddamn lie. Okay? But anyway, Claire was like, okay, you sound serious, sweetie. Denise was like, I am. Paula said there's some children out there that has to be taught differently. And I want to learn how to do that. If I get accepted to a school in Rhode Island, Olivia and I are out of here. And Claire says, Denise, all right, I'm going to need you to be realistic, sweetie. Do you know how difficult it is raising a kid while your husband is on military tours and you're trying to go to school? Respectfully, remember, sweetie, you couldn't go to school without those responsibilities. We remember season 1 of A Different World. Everybody does, as a matter of fact. And Denise is like, well, look at Paula. She's back in school. She's getting a degree. I'm comparing myself to my husband's ex-wife. And Claire is like, well, of course Paula's back in school. Denise, you're raising Paula's child. You're married to Paula's husband. That's why she's friends with you. Idiot. Stupid. Like, this girl is an idiot. And then it clicks to Denise. Oh, yeah, you're right. Like, the ditzy light-skinned girl. You know? And Claire's like, honey. This is what Claire tells her. Honey, don't worry about getting out of here. You can stay as long as you need to. And Denise gets that comfortable warmth, embrace that she needed, right? Because mommy and daddy's always there for her when she mess up. Because that's what she's going to do. Every time their little yellow bone daughter mess up, they're going to protect her. And she leaves the episode because she's no longer needed, goddammit. See, and that was the first part. Okay? See, because Denise brought another man's child into the Huxtable's household, right? She don't even have a damn career. She don't have a degree. She's following behind her husband's ex-wife. Oh, this was almost a Rumble exclusive. Oh my God. But what about Theo, though? Because he walks in next. Oh my God. Theo walks in next. And this catches the Huxtables by surprise because Theo got his bags in his hand. And Theo's like, yeah, Justine and I talked it over and we decided we're not going to live together. It's just not the right time. And Claire's like, oh, I'm so thankful that you guys came to this conclusion. And Theo's like, yeah, well, you know, we all said some things that we were sorry about, you know, when I left. And Claire's like, oh, not me. I wasn't sorry about anything. And Theo was like, well, I said some things that I'm sorry about. And then he tries to sit on the sofa, and Cliff is like, oh, hold on now. Please don't sit on my sofa. And Theo gets up. He's like, oh, hold on. And he noticed the energy changes in the house. Oh, yeah, the energy's changing in the house, baby. It happens like this with males. Yeah, the sons, it happens. It's overnight. It happens, right? Boom. Theo gets off the couch. Claire says, when are you going to get it? This isn't about living with Justine, Theo. This is about lying and doing stuff behind our backs. And then Theo apologizes again. And Cliff said, you don't remember you stood right here and told us we were controlling you with our money. And you want to do whatever you want to do with Justine. But see, Theo, you never thought about the wild plot twist. See, what if we told you, Theo, that you can't come back? What if we told you that? Did you ever think about that? And Theo was like, no, I didn't actually. And Claire jumps in, of course you didn't. Because we're your safety net. You do this all the damn time. You go out into the real world, and as soon as you fall, you run back to us. Well, honey, I'm sorry. I had enough this time. And you see Cliff moving his bags out. Theo can't believe it. He's like, hold on. Ma, Dad, hold on. It's raining outside and it's cold out there. Cliff threw him Sandra's old Delta umbrella that she left over there 6 years ago. You ain't even know Sandra was a Delta. Yeah. Grad though, she skated. That's neither here nor there though, right? And he like, here, take your sister's Delta umbrella. She ain't gonna get it. But you gotta leave, buddy. And Theo walks out. Theo walks out the house. Soon as Theo walk out, Cliff asks Claire, how long you gonna leave him out there? Claire let him know until he comes back with a true apology. Then we get a knock on the door. We thinking like, all right, bet. You know Theo about to apologize. Man, Theo left his lamp. He's standing on his pride. Theo 19, he's standing on his pride. He like, forget it. This the only little bit of butt he got. She got him wide open. Like a soup can. It's Theo Huxtable. And in the next scene, we see Claire being concerned because Theo's calling her bluff. She's saying, it's been 2 hours and we haven't heard from Theo yet. And Cliff is saying, look, he's probably on campus sleeping in someone's dorm. Everything's going to be okay, though. You just kicked the damn boy out. And then we get a phone call. And Cliff answers, and he's being very discreet. He's like, hey, Mr. Phillips. Hey. Okay. All right, we're going to work on it together. And then he hangs up. And Claire's like, what's going on? And Cliff was like, and that was Justine's father. Yeah. So Justine is living back in her apartment. And Theo is living in Justine's house. And Claire's like, oh, now she's relieved. She's like, oh, they must have felt bad for that boy. And Cliff said, no, he broke it down to me perfectly. He said, look, if we don't know where Theo's at, then he wants to know where Theo's at. And that's how the show ended. And you see a black family choose their, how can I explain this? Their yellow bone, prone to mess up daughter over their scholar son who has dyslexia and just so happens to have one of the baddest sitcom girlfriends of all time. Of all time, though. Bless Theo Huxtable. Bless Justine. May they both rest in peace, man. Randumb Rants. Like and subscribe.